Hey guys, it's Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we are building a modern spa and we're actually building in Willow Creek. So this is a 50 by 50 lot and it is the house that is in the same neighborhood with the Spencer Kim Lewis's house. I think that's the right name, but it's up in that little neighborhood and I actually really like the house that is originally on this lot. So it was kind of hard to tear it down, but I did need to tear it down to build this. So I did. But I originally was actually going to build this in Windenburg and I really wanted to kind of build it there because I felt like it would fit the vibe a little better. But I didn't want to build it on a 64 by 64 lot, and I think the other biggest lot in Windenburg is 40 by 30, and I just kept looking at it and thinking it's not going to be enough room because this is a pretty big build. And I didn't think it was going to be, but it's pretty roomy and I knew I was going to need a lot of room for landscaping, so that's really why I chose the 50 by 50 lot. But I'm so glad I did because this build takes up every bit of it. And I originally started doing this build thinking it was going to be an easy build, and oh wow, was I so wrong about that, because I think this build ended up taking me about 4 hours. I don't actually time my build, so I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was about 4 hours that I was building this. And it seems like everything that could go wrong with this build definitely tried to go wrong. At least I felt like that. But I originally was going to build it like you guys can see it now. So this was the shell of the house or the spa. And so that's how I was going to build it. And then I realized that it didn't have enough levels to it and it was like way too even all the way across. So I decided that the actual building parts needed a second story. And so when I put the second story up there, something happened to these little walkways. That's what I'm going to call them. They're the little areas that you can kind of see that connect the building. So I'm going to call them walkways if you guys are wondering what I'm talking about. But something happens there in just a little bit where the roof trim that I put on this area disappears and it leaves this really big gap. Yeah, you can see it right now. And it leaves this really big gap. And I could not figure out what was going on. I couldn't raise the columns at all. It kept telling me that I couldn't raise the columns any further, even though it's one of them that was not restricted at all. And so it was the craziest thing, and it wouldn't let me replace the roof trim or anything like that. So I ended up, the first time it happened, I ended up just rebuilding them completely from scratch, like re-putting everything, the flooring, the ceiling, everything. And it let me fix it then and everything was working. But then later in the build, it disappeared again and I have no idea why. But that time I was like, nope, I am not building this again. I'm not doing this again because it keeps disappearing and it was driving me crazy and it was making this build take so long. And so I did not put it back. I think I put one of the thinner roof trims back on there. And so I did not try to replace that. But then when I got to the end of the build, I actually saw this roof trim, the original one, the one from Seasons. I saw that on the little walkway on the back of the house. I keep calling this a house, I'm sorry. But on the back of the spa, I saw it and it was just there. It's like it had reappeared. And it's so weird because I don't have a clue what was going on with that, like what kind of glitch that was. I've never experienced that before, but it was awful. It made this build just really difficult. Actually, I think I made this build really difficult, but it definitely made it more frustrating. But yeah, I thought this was going to be a simple build, and then it just ended up being just like a crazy long process. And it looks really simple from the outside as well. Like when you see the screenshots and the videos, it just doesn't look like that big of a deal. It's very boxy, it's very modern, so there's really just not a lot of detail to the exterior. And like it looks like that, but it took me forever. So I think the time that I actually spent on the interior of this build was like so small compared to how much I spent on the exterior, way less than I should have. The interior is very, very simple. It's like just the necessities. That is all it is. And I may go back one day and try to decorate it a little bit more, but the day that I was building this, I just could not handle it anymore. But anyway, I'll stop complaining to tell you guys a little bit about the build. So it is a modern spa. I really like building spas. I think that is the most of any community lot that I've actually built is just the spa community lot. I have built a museum and a pool before, but it was pretty early on into my building, and so they weren't great, but I did build, I've built a couple pools maybe since then. I built one pool that was like hot springs in Sulani, and I thought that one was really cool. So I do like building pools as well, but I think so far the most community lots I've built is spas, so maybe I need to start building more community lots. But yeah, anyway, this is a modern spa, so as you can tell from the exterior, it's very modern, and I got the inspiration for this build off of Pinterest, but I actually cannot find the pin that I got the inspiration from, so I can't show you guys. I don't know if I just didn't save it or if I somehow deleted it. I don't know what happened, but it was a really cool build. This isn't identical to it. It's like kind of a distant cousin maybe to it, but if that makes sense. But it's definitely not a twin. But I wasn't trying to really recreate the building. I kind of was just taking inspiration for the building. And then the landscaping part of this build, I was trying a little bit to recreate, maybe. Not copy it completely, because there was a lot more detail and I didn't even have enough room, I don't think, to fully like recreate the landscaping. But I was definitely using it as an inspiration, and then certain parts of the landscaping I did kind of recreate. But I thought the landscaping was what was so beautiful about this house, and I really love building meditation gardens. I've built a couple of them on my shorts videos, and I just think they are the coolest concept. And I don't think it's like a thing. It's not where I live anyway. It's not a thing to have like a meditation garden. And I say meditation garden, but it's just like, to me, it's like the most relaxing looking place, just where you can sit and chill and just not think about anything at all. And so I guess that kind of is a meditation garden. But anyway, I think they're really cool though. I think they are so fun to look at. I see them on Pinterest all the time, and I just really like building them. So this was basically, that's what this build was. It's a spa, but mainly I just wanted to build the landscaping and build kind of like a huge, massive meditation garden with a spa on the lot, if that makes sense. So the spa is not even the like feature of this build. To me, it's the landscaping. I just am so happy with it, and it looks so peaceful, and I just think it looks really cool. I wish that I had checked to see how close this venue was to being a park as well, because I feel like it would have been pretty close to being able to fit in as a park. But I don't know, because I forgot to check it. But it does fit into everything you need it to be a spa. But on the exterior, I did this little walkway thing, which I thought was really cool. That was from the inspiration photo. And then I added these fountains because, like I said, to me, that is a big part of meditation gardens, is having some water that you can sit by. And I think that is just cool and like a very happy little place. So I did add these little fountains just with the fountain tool. I didn't add any of the like fountain items just because it didn't really feel like it needed it. And then I was going to add the waterfall item that came with the Island Living Pack in the debug section. I was going to add that to the rocks that were kind of behind my fountain or to the side of it. And I was going to add that, and it'd be like a little waterfall trickling down the rocks. And I thought that was going to be so cool. But that object is just really, really big. And it's one of those objects that doesn't get affected when you size it down, so it doesn't actually get any smaller. It's still pretty big. And so it was going to be way too big for my rock section over there. And I didn't want to just keep on adding that because I wanted this to be kind of a low-key, exterior. And so I decided to leave my waterfall off. Although I think it would have been a really cool detail, so I'm kind of sad about it. But I added some yoga mats and meditation stools, of course, and I also added just some base game loungers. I think those are from base game, just to kind of have a little seating area and everything. There's not really anything that you can use it for, but then I basically just copied everything that was on that side of the build, and I moved it put it over to the right side of the build as well. So I just basically copied that one side and then put it on both sides, so it's exactly the same. And then for the middle of this build, I ended up putting just a really long pool. And when I first started this build, I had all these high hopes of like putting this really cool fancy pool that had a bridge going over to it, very, meditation and zen gardeny. And yeah, at this point I had spent, like I said, I think about 3 hours maybe at this point, 3.5. And so I was just done. I was like, I just need to get this video done. I cannot keep on building. And so yeah, I just went with the pool, but I actually like the way it turns out. You guys can let me know what you think, but I think it's kind of a cool feature leading up to the middle of this build. I think it looks pretty cool. But that was the exterior of the build, and that is what I just loved the most about it. That's basically why I built this, so I hope you guys like it as much as I do. I just do think that like Zen gardens are some of the coolest things to look at, and I would love to have one of those around me, like that I could go to and sit in. Like, it would be so cool, kind of like a park, but like calm, you know? But anyway, we're on to the interior now, and the interior is very simple because I was so done with building at this point. But I do think it's functional. I think everything was functional because when I took the screenshots for this build, I had like Sims there, and I don't remember seeing any issues, but I'm not 100% sure because I really just took the screenshots. But yeah, anyway, so the interior is very simple, but I tried to kind of represent every item from the pack. So I have this little area was like an athletic area with some gym equipment, and then the middle area is like the pedicure, manicure kind of situation. I don't actually know what those chairs do. That's how little I play the game. I actually don't know what that object is, but I know it came from the spa day pack, so I was using it. But then the last building is the sauna area, and I think I put some like massage tables in there as well. But that is pretty much it for this build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a very long process, but I really am happy with the way it turned out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will hopefully talk to you guys soon in another video.